You never said anything about my jazzy bomber.
I was there when that loud thing came into the house.
Do you love it? You're obsessed with it, right?
That's not the first word that comes to mind.
I know, you're speechless. It's that amazing.
Yes, that's it.
It's
I am speechless. I saw it and I didn't know what to say.
It's whatever. We'll let the audience tell us what they think.
That's what all the comments will be about. It'll be about your outfit.
I know.
Which probably is going to be a normal thing, just so you all know. Now that you're actually seeing him, yeah, it's going to be...
Stay tuned.
Oh, God, you're just going to use this as an excuse to buy more clothes.
I mean, I have a lot of clothes that I need to wear, so let's just start. Hello and welcome to Relation-Chat.
Hello, world.
This is our weekly dive into our podcast, Relation-Shit. We are your hosts, the Critellis. I'm Marco.
And I'm Tony.
Every week, Tony and I will join you for a behind-the-scenes look at the topic of this week's podcast, where we will further discuss what we learned, and then read our second listener situation question with you right now. So let's get started this week. First things first, let's toast to the first episode.
Cheers to Relation-Chat.
To Relation-Chat, huh? All right. So this week, Tony and I had a very interesting discussion about politics. And as you can see, it wasn't a very fun conversation for the most part. But we did learn some very interesting things. So of the things that we learned during the course of the podcast, what did you learn the most, and how did it affect you moving forward?
You know, this is a unique topic in that really what it did for me was more affirm what I already knew, which is some people treat each other very badly, and that is a universal human experience, and sometimes it gets reported in the news, and I don't like the news because it's always bad news.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's very interesting.
So it really only affirmed what I already felt. I did notice, though, that, and I don't know if it was because of the podcast or if it was like a slow news week or what, but I did notice that since we recorded it, you didn't have like as massive of a like sort of feeling about the politics this week. Like I didn't hear news week. I didn't hear stories. You didn't get angry. You didn't say F Trump.
Well, I mean, I think it was just a slow news week in general. Also, I was really busy this week, so I don't know if I had time to pay attention to much of anything. But
maybe that's what it was.
Yeah, no, I mean, there was not a lot. I mean, the Super Bowl happened, all that stuff happened, so those were like really the only things that were going on. But, you know, at the end of the day, I think that, I mean, for me, myself, what I ended up learning during the course of this week is that, I don't know, like, we're in danger, girl. I don't know, it was really interesting just because, I do like to follow the news. I get all my news on Twitter, which I know some people are going to laugh about that, but headlines are really important. And I try to consume what is happening only because I find it to be very important to know about everything that's going on around you. But with that being said, I also learned that it takes some effort to not be affected, but you can still be informed. And I think moving forward, that's something that I'm definitely going to try to make sure that I do a little bit more of. So that was interesting, but politics are interesting. I was so glad that we read the articles that we did and had a further discussion about it. I do think it's important to be informed because, again, as a black gay male that travels about this world, it's always nice to know who my enemies are.
It's everyone.
Everyone's against me. But I'm glad that you got to learn a couple of things, even if you still don't know what Mike Pence looks like.
And based on the description, I don't think I need to.
Yeah, well, you're not missing out on much, but yeah. So, well, with that being said, we would love for everybody to tell us a little bit about what they learned from this week's podcast, because I think that it's nice to hear from other people's voices. Again, we were talking about episode number 1 of season 2, which is American Idiot. But we would love to hear what you all learned from that experience and how politics affects you in your gay and or queer lives. I think that's super important.
Yeah. And now I think we should read our other listener situation.
That sounds wonderful.
All right. So this one is from a young man named Kyle. He says, "Hi, you two married men." Hi, Kyle. My name is Kyle, and I'm an out and proud 16-year-old. I was living in a rural part of Louisiana with my parents when I told them I was gay at the age of 13. They were very supportive. So supportive, in fact, that my dad moved us closer to a big city so that I wouldn't be lonely, could make gay friends, and even date. Wow. Any tips for me as I make my way into the gay world? Yes, Kyle.
Slow down.
Yes, Kyle. The first thing you should do is give your parents a giant hug and a kiss, because that is amazing. That's not the common narrative for most of us. And I think it's fantastic that not only were they supportive, but that they were so supportive that they uprooted their lives for you. They really love you. And that is so, I won't say rare, but it really should be appreciated. So that's the first thing I would say. The next thing I would say is, as you try out different things, some things will fit, some things won't. You really only know who you are by experiencing things. And so I would say, while you're doing that, try to hold on to your authentic self, even as you're discovering who that is. In other words, don't let other people tell you what to do. Don't let them tell you that you can't do this because you're gay, or you have to do that because you're gay. Figure it out for yourself. You're a whole person, and being gay is just part of that. So don't feel pressured to be or act or do anything that you're not comfortable with.
Sure. Gay world is a very interesting world. That's the only reason why I said slow down. But gay world is a very interesting world in that you're going to go into an entirely new subculture that is going to put you into other new subcultures within that subculture. So you're going to learn a lot very, very quickly. It's gay. I feel gay world is like a crash course in being an interesting human being. Mm-hmm. And so you want to give yourself the opportunity to learn a little bit, but laugh a lot and live even more. Because it's going to be very interesting, but don't, kind of to Tony's point, don't get caught up in all the madness. Mm-hmm. Stay true to who you are. Find your tribe. I think that would be the best advice, is find those fellow gays or just people in general that speak to you as a human being, and then just do your best to live and love and be a part of all of that, and just don't get caught up in too much of the nonsense that goes around in gay society, because it can be a little bit overwhelming, but it can also be incredibly enticing, and we've all partook. So, just make sure you have a level head on your shoulders behind all of that. I think it's really important.
And I would also say, kind of piggybacking off of you, is that you... just because you're both gay doesn't mean you have to sleep together. You can just be friends.
Learn that right now.
Yeah, because that'll be kind of for some people, it's kind of the jumping point.
For sure. So, awesome. Well, I think that's going to wrap it up for this week's first episode of Relation Shack.
Congratulations.
Cheers. Love it. Thank you guys.
To all of you.
Tell us what you think or what you thought. You guys can email us at relationshipquestions@gmail.com. Or if you want to follow us on social media, you can definitely follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. We are at Pod Relationship on all three. We would love to hear what you thought about the first episode of season 2 and what you thought about this episode of Relation Chat. What would you like to see from us moving forward? And hopefully this helps you out a little bit. Have a wonderful week. We love and thank you all for everything. And we can't wait to see you next Wednesday.
Mwah.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.